Well, let's go back to the story of that missing Malaysia Airlines plane. We can talk to Geoffrey Thomas, who is an aviation expert and the editor of airlineratings.com, and he joins us now from Perth in Australia. Geoffrey, just explain to us this idea about this automated signalling system that talks to a satellite that could have been going on for 5 hours.
Yes, this relates to, it's like British Telecom checking your line every hour to make sure your telephone system works. It's something, simply put, something along that line. And apparently for the next 4 or 5 interrogations, one every hour, it was getting receiving a signal back saying, yes, I'm fine, I'm receiving you and I'm transmitting, indicating that the plane was still electrically still active, although the other systems like the transponders, there's 2 of those, and the ACAR system, which is a real-time reporting system, were shut down. And that could either be done manually or part of a wider electrical problem, perhaps. But it's pointing to a manual intervention here.
OK, I want to talk about that in a second, but just going back to this, this automated signalling system, it can't locate the plane, I'm assuming, obviously.
Well, that's a very good question. I mean, if with cross-referencing of satellites, it possibly could. I mean, this information was received on Sunday. We're talking, 5, 6 days ago now. It was passed on to the airline. But I'm not sure exactly what timely manner it was passed on to the airline, but one would assume by Monday they would have known. It is very strange, the timeline on this particular new revelation of evidence.
OK, Geoffrey, going back to that suggestion of human intervention, what do you mean? That somebody, one of the pilots or the captain, they physically switched off the transponders?
Well, either the pilots or the plane was taken over by hijackers or pirates, if you like. Somebody on board the aeroplane has switched that off. I mean, one of those transponders requires 2 circuit breakers to be pulled. The other transponder requires you to actually get into the interface in the cockpit and go through a series of checks and disable it. So it's not something that you can knock a switch and turn it off. It has to be done particularly and methodically to shut these 2 systems down. So either the pilots or somebody who had intimate knowledge of how 777 works, or the pilots did it under duress. It's one of those scenarios.
Now, talking about the actual search area, it's been hugely expanded now into the Indian Ocean. What do you make of that?
Well, I think that what we can glean from that, Kasia, is that there is now significant credence being put on the fact that this plane did fly on for quite some hours, and the search area is being widened to the distance the plane may have flown in that 4 or 5 hours. It also relates back to a radar paint, if you like, of an unidentified object plane on Wednesday that came to light from the Malaysian authorities. They said that 3 or 4 hours after the plane was lost contact with, it was detected northwest of Penang, or an object was detected. So there seems to be more credence that this plane has gone across the Malay Peninsula, northwest of Penang into the Adnan Sea, and possibly towards those islands in the Bay of Bengal.
OK, so for the time being, the search continues. But from you, Geoffrey Thomas, editor of airlineratings.com, thank you very much for your expertise.